I wanted to also speak a little bit about the end of the chapter, because we've heard now about Yudhishthira. We've heard about the prayers of these ladies climbing up on the roofs, and then Krishna leaves. He's been trying to leave before. He's been stopped by Kunti some chapters back, but now he does leave, and he travels together with his 16,108 wives and all the soldiers and relatives, and I think he has perhaps 11 children with all the wives. So it's not a small group that is traveling. And the text mentions the different areas they travel through. And as you said earlier today, each evening Krishna makes sure to conduct the appropriate rituals. I very much like this description of the travel. It's brief, and it doesn't give many details. As you say, we don't know what exactly those rituals were, but you get the feel of this huge caravan of people going slowly from one place to another, maybe with bullock carts and horses and camels, and I suppose they had some elephants, and then stopping, pitching up their tents, making their evening meals or whatever, and then sitting down for religious rituals at the end of the day. Sometimes we hear that the first thing we should do in the morning when we get up is not take out the phone and start checking Instagram, but we should actually engage in prayer or meditation or something like that, the very first thing that we do when we get out of bed. But maybe it should be the opposite as well. The last thing we should do in the evening, like Krishna here, is to engage in something uplifting, something spiritual. Do you have any advice for what kind of things that could be? What kind of evening rituals could we have?
I remember when I was living in the temple, in one temple in Mountjoy Square in Dublin. It was the first Dublin temple, and it was a lovely Georgian house. It had a lovely temple room, and in the evening at 9 for the 9 o'clock arti, just at one phase in this. One time we had this really crazy program, in one sense, but wonderful program, where everyone got up at 2 o'clock and chanted all their rounds before Mangal Arti. And, then the whole day went on. And then at 9 o'clock, everyone went to the last arti of the evening and sat there for 15 minutes, just sat, and in absolute silence, just looking at the deities and maybe reviewing the day. What could we have done better? And there was no set thing. It was just, and the evening is a time when you can do that, where you can just sit silently. Maybe that's because of Tamagun, but but it was so, you're just sitting there, and it's completely winding down. But we all found it very, very helpful. It was the favorite time of the day for many of us, that we just sit there and just reflect on the day and have the time to think and digest the day. So much happens in a day, and so many interesting things happen, and we forget. We move on to the next thing, and what's on the phone and what's on this. But to just think about what happened today, and who did I bump into, and what did I talk, and what interesting thing happened, what serendipitous thing happened that could have been Krishna talking to me. Was Krishna talking to me today? Was he trying to say something? Was I listening? You have time to think about that. And then, so I mean, just for instance, for me, last year on Govardhan Puja, I'd been praying to my little Giriraj for help, as I do. Help! That's my prayer. But we had a particular need of £1.7 million. So that's a real need.
A little need.
Small little prayer, But it was like, if Krishna wills it, and if Krishna wills it. So then I was asked to go down to a temple in London on Govardhan Puja Day to give a talk. And it was a Swaminarayan temple, and they called it Ankut. And so I gave the talk. And this gentleman came over afterwards and said, Shaunaka, we haven't seen each other for ages. How can I help? And I said, well, it's funny you should ask. I was laughingly said, 1.7 million pounds. And he gave it to me. It's like, what? So then I came home that night and I was sitting down thinking about the day. And I suddenly realized, my little deity is Govinda, Giriraj. And that's who I do my puja to every day and open my mind to and tell him what's going on, all my joys, all my anxieties. And then on Govardhan Puja day, and I didn't make the connection. There I was standing there, bamboozled by the fact. And it's only when I sat down and thought about it that I suddenly made the connection. Oh, I understand what happened now. And it was kind of so obvious, but we miss it because of another WhatsApp comes in. we get distracted. So to take the time to sit together, and I remember as a kid, my aunt used to always say, "A family that prays together stays together." It used to be a little mantra that people used to say, because in the evening in Irish families, people would get around and say the rosary together, and that was, So, but it is like that. You can imagine Krishna with his whole caravan of family, and literally thousands of people, and then every evening everyone stops and sets up their little tents or wherever they're staying, and then all come together for whatever the rite was, but they came together was the big issue. And maybe that's kind of the function of religion. In one of the purports in this text, in this chapter, actually, Prabhupada says that religion is to purify us, to get us to the stage where we can go further. So it's to bring us together to think about God and spirituality and principles and character and just whatever will get us thinking how to get to the next stage, how to become more thoughtful and affectionate in our life and dealings.